If DNA revealed the secret of life, then artificial intelligence sought to give machines the power of thought. This is the story of that quest, a 7-decade saga of hope, failure, persistence, and triumph. It's an epic of soaring ambition, bitter struggle, and the relentless drive to make machines think. Our story begins in the summer of 1956 at Dartmouth College. A small group of brilliant young scientists gathered with an impossible goal: to build a machine that could reason. In that room, a mathematician named John McCarthy wrote a new phrase on a blackboard: artificial intelligence. He declared, "We believe that every aspect of learning, or any other feature of intelligence, can be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it." The optimism was intoxicating. They thought they could create a human-level thinking machine in a single summer. One scientist even remarked, "I don't see why it should be any more difficult to build a thinking machine than to raise a child." Governments poured money into the field, hoping for a Cold War advantage. But they had tragically underestimated the problem. By the late 1960s, reality hit hard. The pioneers realized their machines couldn't perform even the simplest tasks. Teaching a computer to recognize a cat was a nightmare. You'd write endless rules. A cat has 4 legs, a tail, and 2 eyes. But if the cat turned its head, the program failed. This is the frame problem. Humans have common sense, but encoding it into a machine proved nearly impossible. By the 1970s, the funding dried up. Labs closed. Researchers left. AI became a punchline. This was the first AI winter, a long, cold period of disappointment. But some people never gave up. One of them was a Canadian researcher named Geoffrey Hinton. He believed the answer wasn't in rigid rules, but in neural network systems modeled after the human brain. The idea was old, but computers hadn't been powerful enough to make it work. Hinton spent decades refining the concept, often facing failure. But he persisted, a lonely believer in the dark. Decades later, his faith would be rewarded with the Turing Award, the Nobel Prize of Computing. But back then, he was just another dreamer. As the 1990s dawned, 2 things changed everything: the explosion of the Internet, which provided massive amounts of data to train machines, and Moore's Law, which meant computing power was doubling every 18 months. I was quietly coming back to life. In 2006, Hinton published a groundbreaking paper on deep learning, a way to train complex, multi-layered neural networks. The results were stunning. Then, in 2011, millions of people saw the change for themselves on the game show Jeopardy! IBM's Watson computer defeated 2 human champions. Watson had to understand puns, metaphors, and complex clues in real time. It was a sign that the long AI winter was finally thawing. This brings us to Go, the ancient board game considered the holy grail of AI challenges. The number of possible moves in Go is greater than the number of atoms in the universe. Brute force calculation was impossible. It required intuition and creativity. In 2014, a British company called DeepMind, led by Demis Hassabis, was acquired by Google. They had developed a new AI called AlphaGo. They challenged the world's best Go player, South Korea's Lee Sedol. When Lee heard the news, he laughed. I won't defeat me in the next 10 years, he said. I'll win easily. No computer had ever come close. But AlphaGo wasn't just calculating, it was learning. In March 2016, the world watched. Lee Sedol sat across from a monitor displaying AlphaGo's moves. In the first game, Lee played confidently. Then came move 37. AlphaGo placed a stone in a bizarre, seemingly foolish position. Lee frowned, confused. But hours later, he realized the move wasn't foolish. It was creative. Lee Sedol lost the first game. At the press conference, he was stunned. I didn't think this could happen, he admitted. AlphaGo went on to win the 5-game match. In the 4th game, Lee conceded mid-match, a gesture of ultimate respect in Go. It was a symbolic moment. A machine had defeated a world champion at the most complex game ever invented. Headlines flashed worldwide. This was a ice, Apollo moment. Lee Sedol later reflected, AlphaGo changed how I understand Go itself. The machine hadn't just won. It had taught humanity something new. Professional players began studying AlphaGo's strategies. The student had become the teacher. A year later, DeepMind unveiled AlphaGo Zero. It taught itself to play Go, starting from random moves and playing against itself millions of times. It didn't need any human data. Within days, it surpassed the original AlphaGo. This meant machines could now discover knowledge entirely on their own. DeepMind then applied this technology to science, creating AlphaFold, an AI that solved the 50-year-old problem of predicting protein structures. It was a once-in-a-generation breakthrough that is now revolutionizing medicine. Meanwhile, other labs were making huge leaps. OpenAI launched ChatGPT, Google released Gemini, and Meta created Llama. These large language models could write essays, code, and have conversations. In late 2022, ChatGPT reached 100 million users in just 2 months, the fastest adoption of any technology in history. AI had finally arrived in our daily lives. Today, we stand at a crossroads. Many researchers believe we are approaching artificial general intelligence, or AGI in AI, with intelligence equal to or beyond our own. This brings incredible promise, but also immense risks: job displacement, algorithmic bias, and even loss of control. In 2019, Lee Sedol retired from professional Go, saying, "After playing AlphaGo, I realized I can't be at the top. Even if I become number one, there is an entity that cannot be defeated." His words captured the psychological shock. But later, he found a new path, collaborating with AI to explore the game he loves. The 70-year journey of AI is a story of human ambition and humility. We dreamed of creating a thinking machine. We failed, and we persevered. The victory of AlphaGo was more than a technical triumph. It forced us to ask profound questions. What is intelligence? What makes us human? And how will we coexist with our creations? There are no easy answers. The question is no longer, will machines replace us? But rather, how can we work with them to build a better future? The story of AI is far from over. In fact, it's just beginning. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.